With such a large amount of emissions today, most of it is being mined by a few large farms. Although Bitcoin is also largely controlled by big farms, ordinary people still have a chance to mine it. Aren't you concerned that the output is becoming too concentrated in their hands? Additionally, with so much emission, why are you so confident that these outputs will be steadily consumed in the future? So a couple different questions there. The first is that it's being mined by large farms. Is that a concern? One of the core principles of this project is its permissionless nature. In other words, if you are running nodes, then you have equal footing to participate with anybody else. And we've tried to address this through various means by making it harder to do things like the expanded overallocated workers. But at the end of the day, if people are putting more resources towards it, then they're also going to get more out of it. And to your note about like similarity to Bitcoin, while normal people can participate in Bitcoin, Bitcoin works as kind of a lottery system. Essentially, the way that you obtain Bitcoin is that you get the right hash. You get a hash that is smaller than the difficulty target when interpreted as a number. But the reality is that statistically speaking, you don't. Like if you're running Bitcoin on a CPU, you statistically will never mine a Bitcoin anymore. Whereas these people who are running these home miners are essentially running highly optimized ASICs that can meaningfully like compete when compared to all the other ASICs that everyone is running. But that's the same thing with Q. You are meaningfully competing with everybody else who's running this hardware. The difference is just the number of workers at play. What's also unique about the nature of Q with how rewards are distributed is that they are distributed in a fractional basis based on the number of individuals that are actively proving at any given time. And the uniqueness of that means that instead of somebody who is running a single lone miner for Bitcoin and just hoping someday they nail the magic number and actually get Bitcoin out of it, with Quilibrium, the likelihood of you actually earning Quill is essentially guaranteed. If you are running a miner, you will get rewarded in Quill every single frame that you submit a proof on. That's something very different. The quantity of that, however, works out a little bit differently, but it maintains the same probabilistic outcomes, and that's something to kind of think about. That's one of the unique things. So the concern about output becoming too concentrated in their hands, I'll put it this way. There are people who are basically mining a bunch of Quill and they're holding on to it. And you can see this. You can validate this in the current state of the network, and also you can validate this by virtue of the activity that happens over the bridge. And there are people who do not. I cannot speak to their motivations. I cannot speak to why they choose to do these things or behave the way they do, but there are people who are doing things because of whatever motivations are causing them to do it. And some people are holding on, some people are not holding on. And because the nature of what's happening right now has a lot of the larger miners not holding on to it, it basically creates a open opportunity for people who do not want to run miners to obtain it in some way. I can't speak very particularly about the nature of that, but that has the ability that when things like the username marketplace is online, which will happen very shortly, they'll be able to obtain things like a unique Q name without having to actually run a node themselves. So I expect that as more applications emerge that use Quill in ways that are in service of their own app purposes, you're going to see the conversation shift a bit.